He goes to school with a delinquent named Pak, who is a YouTuber with over 700,000 subscribers who does daily live streams. He pretends to be a cool, nice guy, but in actuality he is just another bully who likes to step on weak people. Viewers still flock to his channel, and using his influence, he launches another classmate named Rumi, who has no brain, but was gifted with a good amount of beauty. He tells his audience to head over to Rumi's channel, as they also have a live model for them, which Rumi practiced her makeup on. This poor model turns out to be none other than Haben, who is smeared with black and white paint alongside red lipstick. The entire stream makes fun of him and his stupid makeup, while Pak simply laughs at him alongside the rest of his class. He then walks towards Haben and tells him to smile for the camera in a very threatening tone, but a humiliated Haben is barely able to fake a smile, before running away to the washroom as soon as the camera turned away from him. He washes his face viciously to try to get all of the paint off of his face, before returning to the class, where he is immediately dropkicked by a blonde guy named Snap, who is Pak's cameraman. Snap doesn't have any bravado like Pak, or beauty like Rumi, but he is a strategist and uses his mind to piggyback on Pak's success. He proceeds to kick Haben relentlessly while he is on the ground, accusing him for not smiling in front of the camera as instructed. When Haben finally has had enough and gives him a deathly glare, which scares Snap immediately, and he stops, he keeps his composure and turns around to make sure Pak has got his back, and Pak tells him that Haben can't even fight a mosquito. Meanwhile, Rumi checks her account and claims that just for that short stream, she was able to earn $200, which surprises Haben as they barely streamed for 30 minutes and did absolutely nothing apart from yapping their mouths and insulting him. Hearing this, Snap also sits down and starts thinking out loudly about how even he should open a YouTube channel and earn money, because Pak doesn't share the revenue with him, even though he is his cameraman. Snap finally gets up and walks up to Pak before telling him that he is thinking of opening his own channel and asks what would he need for that. Pak tells him that he can't really open a YouTube channel yet as he is still below 18 years of age and will need someone's bank account who is above 18 to open it. He claims that he can't use his parents' ID as he once stole money from them, but then turns around towards Haben and very rudely asks him whether his mom died yet. This really catches Haben as he never expected someone to be this cruel. Snap continues by saying that if his mom is not dead yet, then he should give him her bank account so that he could start a channel. Pak and the others start laughing at this while Haben sits on the ground with curled fists, but doesn't have the courage to fight his bullies. Later that evening he goes over to the hospital to meet his mother, who asks what happened to his face. But he lies about how he fell over a set of stairs before going to the reception where he learns that the weekly hospital charges are $200. He pays the bill before heading back to his part-time job at McDonald's where he thinks about how $200 is what he earns in a week, whereas these terrible people who have rich parents and everything else in their life easily earn hundreds of dollars without doing anything in minutes. While he was feeling miserable, one of his beautiful new co-workers named Bomi asks him where the Burger King foot lettuce is. He directs her towards the deep freezer, and Bomi thanks him while the other co-workers immediately start offering to help her retrieve the item, but she thanks them and moves on. This made him feel a little happy, but his happiness was short-lived as Pak enters the restaurant alongside Snapper while live streaming himself. He walks straight up to the counter and tells his audience that he has arrived at the restaurant to see the worker who has been blowing up on social media for her beauty. He then looks at Bomi and tells her that he has got a challenge for her and shows her a burger, telling her to cook it under 30 seconds, otherwise she will have to give him his number. Bomi doesn't know how to reply, when suddenly Haben appears out of nowhere, with the exact burger in the picture, claiming that he created it within 30 seconds, asking Pak to leave as he is disturbing other customers. Pak is surprised by this and doesn't say anything because he was on stream but leaves the restaurant. That night, Snap comes over to his house and starts live streaming himself playing a game on his mother's account, while forcing Haben to cook ramen for him. He overhears Snap saying that one of the donations promised to donate $300 if he scored 30 kills. Haben hears all this with hatred burning through his heart as he spits inside the ramen to get back at him. While he was bringing the food back to Snap, he ends up tripping on the computer cable, and the screen disconnects just as Snap was about to get 30 kills, while the entire pot of ramen goes flying straight at his face as they collide. Snap immediately gets up and starts kicking Haben relentlessly, telling him to pay $300, while Haben thinks about how miserable he must be to get beaten up in his own house like this. While kicking him, however, Snap ends up cursing his mother, saying that she deserved to get cancer. This turns a switch inside Haben, who gets up with anger in his eyes and delivers a strong uppercut. Snap is surprised but starts punching him back as the fight, while Haben grabs some kimchi and slaps him in the face. Haben then grabs the pot and bonks him in the head before they start an all-out brawl with kimchi and pots, unknown to the fact that the light of the camera was still glowing and they were still getting streamed online. Later that night, with bruises all over his body and his entire room destroyed, he switches off the main circuit before heading back to sleep as he thinks about all the new expenses that he has to cover. The next morning, he is woken up by a caller who turns out to be Snap as he shouts at Haben for uploading the video of their fight and tells him to delete the stream. Haben has no idea what the hell is he talking about and tells him that the stream must have ended when he tripped over the wire. But just then he realizes that the wire belonged to the monitor and not the CPU, which means that the screen got turned off. But the stream was still live. Snap cries about how the fight has been uploaded on YouTube and has went viral ever since. He tells Haben to give him the password as it's his mom's account, so he can't even delete it himself. Haben immediately cuts his call and opens YouTube only to see their fight on the front page and all the comments completely roasting them. He completely loses hope as he thinks now not only his classmates, but the entire world will bully him. He was about to delete it when he notices a comment claiming that he could get paid a lot of money for the views he got. He immediately checks his views, which are over 10 million in one night, which means he earned over $10,000 in one night. Back in school, everyone has already seen the video and start making fun of Snap the moment he enters the room. He realizes that he needs to get his ranking in the class back, so he decides to bully a nerd and slaps him on the head, only for the fat nerd to swing a backhand at his face before he jumps on top of him and starts punching him in the face. He looks towards Pac for help only to realize that he is laughing his ass off watching him get pounded. Meanwhile, Haben walks out of the hospital by paying some additional fees for his mother when he gets punched by Snap. He grabs his collar and starts asking for half his money, but Haben breaks his eggs in half and tells him to piss off as he won't pay anything. They start fighting in the middle of the street, and by the end of the evening they both sit on a park bench where Haben tells Snap that he isn't going to pay him a penny. But Snap reveals that he recorded their fight from a hidden camera and will upload it online, while lying that this was all scripted just like the viral fight video, destroying Haben's online reputation. He then proposes to Haben that they should become a team and work together, as he has already been recording, editing, and uploading Pac's videos till now, which is why he became so successful in the first place. He promises to be his producer and deal with everything, while the only thing Haben will have to do is appear on camera. He thinks Haben is just a dumb nerd and tells him that since he is producing the videos, he will get 90% money while Haben gets 10%. It seemed like Haben was about to agree, but says psych at the last moment and shows him the middle finger, telling him he is not as dumb as he looks, and starts walking away. Snap starts getting desperate, offering him 60% of the cut, and then 80%, before finally bending his knees and offering him the 90% cut while he takes 10%. Haben finally turns around and asks what his plan is, and Snap reveals that they will do live bully confrontations where Haben calls out bullies and stands up to them in front of the camera, promising that this will make both of them very rich, and that Haben will never have to work or worry about bills again. The next morning, when he goes back to school, he is surprised to see that Pac includes both him and Snap into his stream, as the viewers really wanted to see the guys from the viral stream. Pac starts acting as if he is friends with them and starts using them to gain more viewers and subscribers before telling both of them to act normal and to greet the stream. Snap tells Haben that he should do something as this punk is capitalizing on their viral video, but Haben tells him that this isn't the right time and that they should wait. Soon enough, Pac was about to end his stream and tells the viewers that the giveaway winners will be announced soon, and the first prize is a full PC setup worth $2,000. Just at that, Haben screams from behind and shouts that Pak is full of shit and is lying straight to the viewers' faces as it is all a scam. He shouts about how Pak pretends to be a good guy in front of the camera, but actually he is just a bully who enjoys tormenting people smaller and weaker than him. Haben doesn't stop here and takes his shirt out to show a bunch of bruises as a proof that Pak has bullied him almost every day of school and has hurt him for no reason, and claims that he will be uploading everything to his channel, so they should check it out. People gather all around the classroom thinking that Haben finally lost his mind and is probably going to die today, while Pak simply stares down at him with anger in his eyes. Snap is happy with whatever is happening, as this will drive Pak's viewers to their channels instead. Suddenly Pak starts smiling and shows that the battery of his phone died and the stream ended a while ago, which means that all of this was in vain. Pak pulls back his hands and delivers an insanely strong slap to Haben's face and starts slapping him relentlessly, while everyone watches from afar. Thankfully, Snap is smarter and anticipated this, so he already started the stream on their channel and starts recording Haben getting a beating from Pak. They start getting more than 33,000 viewers and a lot of subscribers, while the comments all seem to be against Pak and his bullying. He keeps getting beaten up, but to Snap's surprise, instead of backing down, Haben gets ready for a fight. This enrages Pak, who shows off his big muscles and gang tattoos to intimidate Haben, who trembles like a twig in the wind. While thinking about the moves he has seen in the movies and hoping they would work out, Pak starts making fun of Haben's mother and her disease, which pisses him off, and he rushes in to tackle Pak to the ground. But to no one's surprise, Pak stays standing as there is a massive weight difference between them. Pak simply laughs and grabs Haben before slamming him to the ground and knocking the air out of him. Haben thinks about how fighting someone his own size was so much easier compared to fighting someone bigger and stronger. Just when he thought that his beating was over, Pak looks at him and tells him that he is not done yet. He raises his fists to hit him some more, when a red-haired guy tells them to keep it quiet as he is trying to sleep. Pak immediately turns around angrily and tells the guy to shut up before he gets a beating as well. But the guy simply raises his head, and it turns out that the redhead is Kim, who is a rising MMA star. This scares the daylights out of Pak, who starts acting like a coward and apologizes for shouting and leaves the classroom as Haben lies on the floor. That night, Pak recharges his phone, glad that his battery died at such a lucky moment. But the moment his phone turns on, he is barraged by a slew of questions about whether the giveaway was fake, as he checks to see that the entire fight has been uploaded on YouTube. Haben takes a shower and looks at his beautiful mug in the mirror, happy that he got the upper hand on Pak, as right now they are trending on every social media platform, and generally the people are sympathizing with Haben. Pak tries to make an apology video claiming that it was all a mistake, but ends up editing it wrong and includes the part where he smiles and talks about how his viewers are dumb enough to believe him. That was pretty much the end of career for him, as he tries to bounce back by making videos donating to the farmers, doing more giveaways, and trying everything to gain back his followers, but nothing works and his followers keep dipping by the second. He soon has less than 200,000 subscribers, while he used to have 700,000, and becomes completely irrelevant. Meanwhile, Haben's channel blows up and he gets 100,000 subscribers in no time with only 2 videos on the channel. One day, Snap tells him that he needs to last in a fight more than at least 3 minutes, because that's when they will be able to put ads on the video and earn more money from it. The problem is that Haben doesn't know how to fight, so that night he goes back home and starts searching up about different martial arts when he stumbles upon a channel with 0 subscribers, but a huge number of videos. He has no idea why would someone make videos for no viewers, but ends up watching one of them where the weird man named Sam wears a chicken mask and teaches him some of the basics for a fight. He doesn't think much of it and goes back to sleep. And the next day he quits his part part-time job to focus more on his channel. And upon hearing this news, Bomi walks up to him and asks for his phone number as she wants to keep in touch. Haben is beyond himself as he can't believe someone as pretty as her would want to talk. The next morning he goes back to school, but his entire attention is on his phone as he texts Bomi with a creepy smile on his face. Snap slithers on his desk and asks what's up with him and whether he learned how to fight better. Haben replies that he is trying to learn, but it's not that easy. When suddenly Rumi approaches them and asks whether they would want to stream together. Haben and Snap are stunned to hear this and start salivating at the opportunity, but Haben asks why would she want to stream with them, as she is supposed to be Pak's friend. She immediately changes teams and tells them she hates Pak, and that her viewers want to see Haben on the channel. While they were being happy about their newfound respect, Pak enters the room seething with anger, as Haben is the one who destroyed his channel and his life. Suddenly, the advice given by the chicken man flashes in front of Haben, and he remembers that an angry opponent is the easiest to deal with. Pak takes out his shirt ready for a fight, while Haben is too scared to move. Pak swings at him angrily but misses, which angers him even more. He pulls his fists back for another strike, but Haben decides to face him straight on. Thankfully, Snapper immediately starts recording the entire fiasco and makes fun of Haben by saying that his camera is faster than Pak's punches. Pak stops at the last moment, but threatens to take his revenge one day. The next day, Haben waits out near a park for Snap to discuss where to take their channel, when a couple stops by him and tell him that they are huge fans. Haben starts feeling pretty good about it, but they end up completely robbing Haben of everything he had. Snap arrives at the last moment to help, but gets slept by a single punch, while the guy grabs Haben's phone and takes it with him. Haben realizes that he can't let it go as it has Bomi's contact information inside, and Snapper eggs him on to fight the bully as the viewers are itching for another video. Haben removes his cap and hoodie and announces that he is going to fight and win against that robbing hooligan. He follows the goon back to a karaoke bar, where he was chilling with his girlfriend, and after collecting his courage, he tells the man to hand his phone back to him as he has something very important in it. The hooligan tells him to piss off before he beats him up. But Snap is recording everything, and even Haben knows that this is way too good of an opportunity to let go of. Haben starts remembering the cockman and how he said that they should first figure out the dominant arm of their opponent. Haben realizes that the hooligan must be right-handed because he is holding the mic in that hand. If your opponent is right-handed, switch over to their left side, making it hard for them to reach you with a punch. The hooligan stands up as he looks at Haben, who seems ready to square up. He tells Haben that he might not even be able to walk back once he is done with him, so it would be better for him to run away. But Haben calmly remembers the wise words of the chicken man, who told him to stand in such a way where there is an obstacle on the left side, forcing them to use only their right hand, which would be easier to intercept. The hooligan jumps up for an attack as Haben remembers that normal people move their shoulders a lot while punching, which gives him enough time to react, and he shoves his head right into the punch, blocking it literally with his face. This shocks everyone as even after being hit full force, Haben barely seems to be affected by this. This is because the punch is at its strongest when it is extended to its full potential, but if you end up moving your head into the punch, you prevent it from generating as much power. In this way, he can get hit in the face without really getting hit or feeling pain. Snap can't believe it as he thinks Haben is not even defending and simply taking the beating, while the chat wonders whether Haben's brain matter exploded. Haben, however, has a strategy as he remembers the cockman telling him to basically keep his chin down and headbutt the fist. The hooligan gets pissed at his own incompetence and throws another wide punch, but Haben is too late to react with a headbutt. But to his surprise, he barely moves out of the way and the punch misses. This reminds me of the chicken man claiming that it's not possible for a normal human being to react perfectly to every punch. But it's also not possible for a normal human to hit every single punch if the target is moving around a lot. This technique is known as weaving, which is oftentimes used in boxing to dodge punches randomly, and making it harder for the opponent to hit a clean shot. The hooligan gets even more mad and gives way to his emotions, punching wildly at every moment possible, while Haben simply bobs and weaves to evade most of the punches, making the goon look like a total failure. Even the chat doesn't know what the hell is going on, and whether all of this is scripted. The hooligan finally manages to make contact, but again Haben blocks the punch with his goddamn face, shocking the hooligan. As he asks for his phone back one more time, he screams at the goon that he needs to text Bomi. But the goon doesn't know what the hell is he talking about, and the fight resumes. He starts blocking the fists with his forehead once again, while Snap has no idea how the hell is he getting hit so many times. Even the goon is confused as he can't understand why Haben isn't even trying to dodge. Haben, on the other hand, feels extremely stupid for not watching the rest of the vids, because the only video he watched only talked about defense and how to block punches, which means that he has no idea what to do after that. He stands there crying about not knowing what to do, while Snap realizes that this is bad for the viewership. The pack fight was swift and conclusive with explosive action, whereas this fight is being dragged out for too long, while nothing is happening except from the goon throwing punches, and Haben getting hit in the face. He realizes that they might lose viewers because of this constant repetition of the same moves and wonders whether he should intervene in between and stop the fight before they lose too many viewers. He was just about to switch the stream off when a familiar name erupted in the chat by the name of Kim. This is the red-head guy that studies in Haben's class who is on his way to become a young MMA sensation. He claims in the chat that all of them are stupid who think Haben is losing his fight, as he bets that he would be the last man standing. The chat doesn't really think he is correct, but unlike those keyboard warriors, Kim knows what he is talking about and tells the chat that they need to pay closer attention to the goon's fists. According to him, the goon didn't realize the amount of damage he was doing to his own knuckles, all this while because of the adrenaline pumping through him. But the moment the adrenaline dies out, he will start feeling an insane level of pain. Just on cue, the hooligan realizes that his fists have swollen up and a sharp pain enters his entire body as her starts rolling around on the floor, while Haben watches in disbelief. After the fight, they get outside, where Snap realizes that Haben's hospital bills might end up taking all of the money that they earned from this stream. But he thinks of it as an investment, as they earned a lot of new followers as well. Thankfully, Haben gets his phone back and starts texting Bomi, while Snap turns the stream off. That week alone, they got 1 million views on their channel, and even though they only had 4 videos, they racked over 25 million views on the channel in total. After a couple of days, they finally received their first payment, which was around $10,000. They were overjoyed at this, as Haben starts thinking about how they need to stream some more. But Snap tells him that they are just being lucky as they didn't get monetized. Haben, the illiterate animal, doesn't even know what demonetization means. So Snap explains that the green mark means that the gods of YouTube are happy and you will get paid. But if the yellow mark comes on a video, which usually happens when your content has too much violence, it will mean that your video got demonetized and that you won't earn any money from it. While they were talking, they suddenly noticed the thought from their classroomie, who was streaming and being fake cute about her life. She suddenly notices Snap and Haben and immediately tries to get them into her stream to steal their viewers. The boys start running away from this gold-digging e-thought and are finally able to get away by the time sun sets. While they were walking through a store, Haben notices a beautiful tracksuit on sale, but the cost for the item was $500. He is shocked to see that anyone would buy this thing, but notices that Snap has already bought one for himself, and encourages Haben to get one as well. Haben suddenly realizes that no matter how much money he earns, he will never know how to spend it. He was about to leave the shop when Bomi texts him and asks him out for a date, which makes him so happy that he buys the tracksuit just to look cool. The next morning, he gets ready in the park with his suit on and waits for her, while some actor-looking streamer walks in and start making all the girls in the area moist. The actor suddenly notices Bomi and tries to ask for her number, but she rejects him and walks over to Haben. Haben realizes that she is not for the streets, while Bomi seems happy as they are both wearing the same suit. He thinks about how there is always a pecking order, and the weak are forced to bow to the strong. He was always forced to bow to Pac because of his strength. Things come in a circle, and Pac was forced to bow down to Kim in order to not get beat up. He always admired Kim, but also knew he could never be like him as he is tall and muscular compared to his midget-like body with no muscles. Bomi doesn't seem to mind being with a short king, which makes him daydream about a future with her. But she snaps him back to reality, and they sit down to eat something. Bomi tries to initiate conversation, but here Haben completely loses because he has never really talked to a girl before. Bomi keeps trying but realizes that it's of no use as she gets up and prepares to leave, claiming that Haben talks really nicely over texts but not in person. Us bro us. Just before she could leave, Haben apologies and tells her honestly that he has never been out on a date with a girl and spends most of his day at his home watching YouTube. Moreover, he couldn't really look her in the face without getting nervous because she is so pretty. This seems to change Bomi's mind as she finds his honesty nice, and the date continues. They head back outside as the day seems to be going well for Haben till Bomi tells him that she needs to meet a guy who she was friends with in grade school. Haben doesn't think much of it, but Bomi claims that the guy is actually in Haben's class and they might know each other. This surprises Haben, and he asks who is she talking about. Bomi happily claims that the guy's name is Kim. This literally drops the hammer on Haben as he can't believe she is friends with Kim, as it basically means there is no chance for him. He starts dreaming about how he will get cucked by the MMA superstar, when Bomi snaps him to reality. Haben ends up lying and claims that he is good friends with Kim, which makes her happy. But to his horror, Kim ends up walking up to them while wearing the same suit. Bomi meets him happily and tells him that she just learned that Haben and him are good friends. Kim looks down at Haben with disgust, while Haben thinks about what's going to happen now. Haben can't believe that he blurted out that he was good friends with Kim so confidently just now. He thinks about how losers like him have an unwritten rule, that is to never pretend to be good friends with anyone. Haben just broke that rule to show off before Bomi, and now he is regretting it. He is ready to face punishment for breaking such an important rule, and believes that this is where he parts ways with Bomi. However, Kim really doesn't mind calling him a friend since they are in the same class. Haben wonders what the hell is happening because he has never even talked with Kim in school, and he doesn't even know his name. Yet, he knows that Haben has a YouTube channel and remarks that they are wearing matching outfits. Haben wonders why is Kim being so nice to him, but hearing that they are friends made him feel really good earlier. The trio takes a walk after that, and Haben believes that if they ask anyone the question about who is the girl's boyfriend, everyone will say that it is Kim. He thinks that he is definitely the third wheel, and even when he drops behind, no one seems to notice it. Haben tells Kim and Bomi that he has to head home because his ingrown toenail is hurting him. He walks away, limping on purpose, because if he stays in the company of two attractive people longer than this, he will die of self-loathing. Bomi doesn't seem to be happy that he is leaving so quickly, and it seems she has caught on that Haben was lying. However, none of them was aware that Snap was nearby, shooting the entire thing with his camera setup. Haben freaks out on noticing him, but Snap strangles him to stop him from shouting and making things worse. He explains that he was just following him because he was worried. He lectures Haben about the pathetic excuse he made earlier and asks why he wimped out when things were going so well for him. Haben tries to free himself from his clutches and tells him to try getting between Bomi and Kim if he thinks he can, and then headbutts him. Haben yells that he knows better than anyone else that Bomi is way out of his league. Snap pretends to be some sage and says that love is like a fighting tournament, where many guys compete for the attention of one girl. He asks Haben if he is giving up just because an opponent stronger than him showed up. Haben meekly replies that he won't lose if he doesn't play, and Snap grabs his collar, telling him the story of a world-famous basketball coach who motivated his players when they were about to give up. The coach told them that if they give up, they have already lost the game, and Snap asks Haben if he really wants to give up now. He reminds him that it was Bomi who asked him out and bought coffee for him. Snap says that why would someone spend money on a loser like him if they were not interested in him in the first place. He reminds Haben how sad Bomi looked when he was heading back, and asks if he still wants to quit. Haben is moved to tears on hearing this and hugs Snap, thanking him for opening his eyes. Snap acts cool, telling him this is what friends are for, and sends Haben off to confess to Bomi. As Haben struts confidently towards Bomi, Snap shows his true colors and pulls out the camera setup out of nowhere. He is planning to record Haben confess to his crush and get rejected, because that is sure to get them a lot of views. However, he spots someone on the way and freezes in his tracks. On the other hand, Haben has reached Bomi, who asks him if his toenail is fine. He tells her that he got over it, but Kim asks him if he wants his ingrown toenail to be yanked out by a professional. Haben panics on hearing that, but then Kim suddenly gets up and leaves. Haben is even more confused now, but Bomi explains that Kim has a match next week, so he must return to practice. Haben feels relieved that Bomi was not on a date with Kim, and he wishes him best of luck for his next fight. Kim turns around and tells him that he is a good fighter and claims that he checked out his YouTube channel. Kim knows that Haben moved to intercept the punches early in his last video so that he doesn't get hurt, and asks if he didn't use the next move after that on purpose. Haben is confused now because he doesn't even understand what the next move was. Anyway, Kim decides to leave, saying that he will wait for his next video. Haben suddenly realizes that he is not the only one who watches Cockman's channel. After that, he sits down to talk with Bomi, but he is blushing too much to say anything clearly. He fidgets and starts rubbing his pants, gaining enough friction to release smoke from them. He finally gets enough courage and asks Bomi what her ideal type is. She turns red on hearing this and nervously says she prefers an honest person. Haben feels butterflies and decides to confess his feelings to her honestly. But as he tries telling her that she is his ideal type, he notices Snap hiding in the bushes and yanks him out. Haben starts lecturing him for setting him up only to record a video, but he is shocked to see that Snap's face is already bruised and swollen. And then the towering figure of Pak appears behind him, who is here for his revenge. Bomi tries to confront them, but Haben simply asks her to get away from here. Pak says that she has nowhere to go, and suddenly grabs her collar, calling her a bitch for not sharing her number with him earlier. Haben is angry, but he recalls Cockman's lessons to not let his emotions take control of him during a fight. He taunts Pak, asking him if he wants to be a loser again. This works on the bully, and he charges towards Haben, who puts his forehead forward to intercept the punch safely. However, what hits him is a powerful uppercut from Pak, who has already seen his video and learned his fighting style. Haben loses his balance and curses himself for using the same technique again and again like a fool. He regrets not watching the other videos and wonders what was the next move Kim was talking about. Pak angrily watches towards him, but Haben's mind is already going blank and he loses consciousness. In that brief moment, he recalls how he used to live a quiet life as a bully boy, but his attitude changed once he started making money off YouTube. He was overconfident just because he learnt one technique in a fight, and showed his face to the world because that would earn him more money. However, after earning money, he became complacent and began focusing on studying or learning to fight, and that has made him a loser again. It starts raining, and Haben is on the ground, surrounded by Pak and his friends. He has been beaten pretty badly, and he can only beg Pak to let him go home. His friends hold Bomi tightly, and Haben begs Pak to at least let her go. He thought that getting beaten was nothing because wounds heal pretty quickly. But this time, he feels that the emotional scar he got by being humiliated in front of Bomi will never get filled. Pak hits him, but Haben is determined to make sure that Bomi reaches home safely, no matter what it takes. He gets on his knees and apologizes to Pak, who says that his apology lacks sincerity. He tells Haben to take his pants off and apologize again. That too in front of all his viewers. Snap is being forced by Pak's friends to shoot a live stream for their channel as he gets humiliated, and he can only apologize to his friend while crying. Pak tells him to take his pants off and apologize, and then he will let him go. Then suddenly, Bomi slaps the bully, and he is pissed at her. He tells Snap to point the camera away, because even he can't punch a girl in a live stream. Before he can do that, Haben gets up and slides down his pants because this is the only way he can save the girl he loves. He takes off everything apart from his underwear and tells Pak to let Bomi go. He laughs at the mad lad who really stripped to apologize and thinks that his career as a YouTuber is over now. He asks him to send all his subscribers to his channel and shut down his account. But Haben is going to do one last act of retaliation. Bomi suddenly closes her eyes, and even Pak nervously asks Haben to stop, because he is taking off even his underwear now. He knows that this may mean that Bomi will never look at him ever again, but by doing this, he can make Pak's account permanently banned from YouTube, and that is his final act of resistance. However, just as he is about to pull his underwear all the way down, Kim appears behind him out of nowhere and pulls them back up, lifting Haben along with them. He tells him to keep them on, and says that he rushed here because he saw Pak's live stream. Kim then calmly walks towards the bullies, and caves in the face of one of them with a single punch. He hits the bully with a rattling punch combo, and then kicks him away. The next bully also gets hit by a barrage of punches, and then it is finally the turn of Pak. He tries to apologize and tell it was just a misunderstanding, but Kim knocks him off his feet with just one hit. He asks Bomi if she is fine, and she replies that she is okay, and it is Haben they should be worried about. Haben is on his knees and his head is hung down, because he is too embarrassed to face anyone. Kim takes Bomi away, and when she tries to reach Haben, he tells her that he needs to be left alone right now. She keeps glancing back at him while walking away, but the grief and embarrassment stays with Haben. He wonders, when did he become a loser? He remembers the time when he was a normal student until he met Pak and got beaten by him for no reason. That was the beginning of his hellish school life. He became too afraid to look anyone in the eye, spoke so softly that no one could hear him, and his posture worsened as he began to keep bowing before everyone. The rain finally stops, and Haben is still on his knees. Snap apologies to him, but he can only cry at his own weakness. Soon after that, Pak is back on his YouTube channel, telling people that he has a fresh model to entertain them. That model is none other than Snap, who is wearing the same ugly clown makeup that Haben once wore. He wonders where is Haben now, because it has been days since he last came to school. While Snap acts a fool and cooperates with Pak, all he wants to do is properly apologize to Haben when he sees him again. Bomi has also tried calling him again and again, but Haben doesn't even pick up her calls. He is holing up in his house, wishing to disappear from the face of the world. However, that is not what he is doing. He is watching Cockman's YouTube channel and learning to fight. He trains till sweat starts flowing in streaks down his entire body, and watches Cockman saying that all motivational speakers and self-help books are useless. The true desire to change and become stronger comes from within a person and not outside. Hearing this, Haben starts doing push-ups again, turning his rage into the fuel that drives him forward. He is ready to work as hard as he needs to become a strong fighter. He is ready to devote an entire month to complete all of Cockman's fighting tutorial and become an invincible warrior. Back in the school, Snap is getting bullied by Pak in his live stream, and his viewers are ready to pay him if he can get the boy to strip. Pak calls out Haben, asking if he is going to leave his friend to endure all this bullying alone. Despite that, with tears in his eyes, Snap asks Haben to not come to school and stay at home. However, Haben is watching the live stream, standing right behind him. Pak laughs and says that he was waiting for him, but Haben simply tosses his phone to Snap and walks to face the bully. Snap doesn't understand anything even as he sees that live streaming is on, and Haben tells him to stop acting like an idiot and hold the camera properly. He looks Pak in the eye and declares that his channel's returning video is called How to Fight and Beat an Ordinary Person. If you liked this video, make sure to subscribe for part 5. And make sure to check out this brand new anime about a loser who gets reincarnated as a prince with godly abilities. The day before this happened, Snap was congratulating Rumi on hitting 100,000 subscribers on her channel. Immediately after that, he began ranting about how it has been 1 month since the bastard Haben suddenly disappeared. He says that it was too much for a loser like him to suddenly get famous and then get humiliated in front of the world. Rumi asks Snap, wasn't he friends with Haben, and he replies that he could never be friends with such a loser. When suddenly, Pak came there and put his hand around his shoulder. Pak asks him to repeat what he just said about Haben, and Snap replies that he was just his business partner, and other than that, he didn't care about him at all. On hearing this, Pak suddenly hits Snap for being a traitor no matter whose side he goes to. He lectured him for sucking up to everyone like a loser and called him even more pathetic than Haben. The rest of the class gave him scornful looks as well, and Snap knew they were right to call him a worthless loser. He cries, thinking how he is not good at anything, and sucking up to the powerful ones is the only way he can survive without any friends. In the meantime, Pak starts his live stream, and he has completely adopted his gangsta image now, which has made his channel grow even stronger than it was before his downfall. On the other hand, Haben and Snap's channel Viral Hit is on steady decline because they haven't posted anything in a month. Pak approaches Snap and tells him to bring Haben to school the next day, because if he can do that, he will allow him to become his cameraman again. Snap curses him in his mind, but accepts the chance anyway. He is ready to survive even if it means selling out his friend for that. That evening, Snap runs to the hospital where Haben's mom is admitted and barges into her room to ask her where is Haben. Haben's mom is shocked that her son is not going to school, so she gives Snap her address, and his face lights up on receiving it. 7:10, however, as she tells Snap that Haben talks about him a lot and says he is glad to have a friend like him. He is thunderstruck and drops the address. The next day, he goes to the school empty-handed and gets beat up once again by Pak for failing his mission. Pak shows his bruised face on his channel and asks why did he not bring Haben to school. And Snap replies that he tried calling him out for an hour, but there was no response. Pak slaps him continuously for disappointing his viewers, and then asks him to send a message to Haben to come to school. He tells Haben to not come to school because Pak is planning to beat him to get more followers. Pak immediately punches him for doing this and keeps pummeling him till he can't even get up. Pak asks Haben to come to school if he wants to save his friend, but Snap cries as he tells Haben to not come to the school at any cost. However, Haben is standing right behind him as he watches this unfold on the screen. Snap is left speechless by what is happening, but Haben tosses him his phone and tells him to get back to his work of being his cameraman. He stares at Pak and declares that this is the return video of Viral Hit titled How to Fight and Beat an Ordinary Person. Snap curses Haben for being a fool to come here despite the warning, but he just puts his palm towards the camera, on which he has written instructions for Snap to focus on him when he says his catchphrase. Pak mocks him for being an idiot and hits him, but Haben intercepts it using his head to nullify the damage. Pak laughs at him, but Haben begins moving like a boxer. In response, Pak throws an uppercut to take him down, and as Haben waits for it to come, he recalls his training over the past month. He heard Cockman call anyone who keeps using just one move an idiot, and believed that he was talking directly to him. He got overconfident just by learning one move and got humiliated before Bomi. Haben thought he couldn't face Bomi or his subscribers again, and began crying over his weakness. However, he was not ready to give up, and began studying by watching Cockman's videos again. Cockman said that to master the technique he is going to show, anyone needs 1 month of hard training. Before that, he revealed that there are 3 essentials for fighting. First is a person's build, and one needs to take a high-quality protein diet to increase body mass. So Haben took all the food items with a good protein amount, blended them all together and drank them raw. He vomited everything within seconds and screamed that he can't eat that horrible thing again. So when Cockman said that one should use protein shakes available in the market to increase muscle mass, he felt ashamed at his stupidity. With that, he came to the second essential of fighting, which is willpower. To train his willpower, Haben drank the abomination blend he created himself and started training with whatever items he could find, because he couldn't waste money on protein shakes and gym membership. The third essential is stamina, and for that Cockman told Haben to immediately hit the swimming pool because swimming with closed fists is the best way to increase stamina. Well, Haben was too introverted to go to public swimming pools, so he went to the public baths instead and trained himself there. However, after all this, Cockman told him that there would not be a drastic increase in his stamina or physique after just 1 month, much to his shock. However, that was just the layup to emphasize the importance of techniques and martial arts. He talked about an interview of the dollar store Mike Tyson, who believed that for a bullied student to protect himself, the most effective move was not boxing but a low kick. Haben practiced the low kick Cockman taught him over and over again, using garbage bags as his target. Back to the present, he has completely perfected it. He hits Pak with the low kick and makes him weak in the knees. Haben is satisfied that his hard work didn't go to waste, but Pak just laughs at his pathetic attempt at a low kick. While Pak and most viewers think that a low kick should be aimed at the enemy's thighs, Kim's name pops up in the chat room, and he claims that Haben's kick landed on the right spot. Well, that is not the same Kim as the one in their class, because he is watching the fight live from the class. However, he too agrees that Haben's low kick was not only great, but it was also an upgraded version of the normal low kick called the calf kick. Haben hits Pak with the low kick again, and he shudders because of the intense pain in his calf muscles as a result. Pak attacks him furiously, but Haben runs away because Cockman taught him that running away is also an important skill in street fights. He manages to stay at a safe distance from Pak while running through the class, and when he sees a chance, he hits him with the calf kick again. However, Pak blocks his next kick and says that a loser like him can only master one move even after training for an entire month. Pak gets on the offensive, but Haben has been hiding another move he has learned. He charges at Pak, swinging his fists just like he used to do while swimming, and hits him with an overhead hook to his face and sends him crashing into the lockers. Everyone is stunned speechless on witnessing this upset, and then Pak's friends try to intimidate Haben. However, Snap steps up to defend him from them, daring them to even lay a single finger on his friend. They keep their heads down, and it is not because of Snap, but because of Kim, who is standing menacingly behind Haben. He tells Haben that he did a great job, and pats him on the back as he asks him to stop crying. However, even with tears and snot flowing down his face, Haben doesn't forget to ask his viewers to subscribe to his channel. After that day, Pak stopped coming to school after his reputation hit rock bottom. His subscribers also migrated to Haben's channel, and he gets the silver play button for crossing 100,000 subscribers. Haben thanks his viewers by getting into a handstand from a groveling position. Later, he buys some new clothes for his mom, and she talks about his friend who paid her a visit earlier. Turns out Haben told his mom about Kim, and she didn't quite catch his name, so she mistook Snap for him. Snap was also there to see her, and as he hears that Haben didn't tell his mom about him, but another person, he gets furious. He throws a tantrum and tries punching Haben just as he comes out of the room, but he just blocks him while smiling, because he considers Snap his good friend now. At night, Snap stays over at Haben's home and says that they should hire an editor to make their channel grow even more. Haben tells Snap that he has been doing well till now, but he replies that he is just an amateur, and they need a real pro. He explains that no matter how exciting their core content is, it may get repetitive and boring for the audience over time. That is why they need an editor who can keep things exciting. Haben understands the concept and then asks if they should post a job listing for that. Snap calls him a boomer for thinking in such an old-fashioned way, and then pulls up the phone to say that the new way to do things is through this. It turns out that he was recording their conversation the entire time, and Haben freaks out on realizing it. He greets the audience, and then Snap announces that they are looking for an editor for their channel. He asks volunteers from among their viewers, and Haben seconds him, right before saying that he is not expecting much to begin with. This pisses off the viewers, but the comments they leave about their qualifications make Haben realize that there are bigger losers than him out there. Haben asks if anyone has experience in editing videos, but everyone denies it. Suddenly, the fake Kim, who always gives the expert analysis of their fights, comments that he has some experience in editing. The other viewers doubt him, and so does Snap, but Haben suggests that they can at least meet him once to confirm his skill. Snap has no choice but to agree, and he asks the fake Kim to send them his contact details. The next day in class, Haben gets a call from the fake Kim, but the caller wallpaper is something that middle-aged moms on Facebook would use. Snap wants to block him, but despite the rambling of the fake Kim who talks like a baby boomer, Haben still wants to meet him. Suddenly, they hear the voice of a girl using the same vocabulary as the fake Kim. Haben and Snap are confused, and then the girl tells them to start their interview now. The girls of the class recognize her as Gil Lee, a first-year student who is famous for her cute looks and also for her archaic vocabulary. Snap laughs at her, saying that she really pulled the old man act so well that he was fooled perfectly. He points his finger at her, and the girl grabs it, telling him that it is not polite to point at others. Snap is blown away by her cuteness. He imagines a future where he is a hardworking man, and she is his wife, who waits eagerly for him to return home. They also have a pet dog in his imagination, whom he has named Haben. The dog Haben distracts Snap's imagination. In the meantime, Haben has started watching one of their videos she edited to show them. She has created an intro for their channel, Viral Hit, but all Snap can focus on is how cute she is. He immediately declares that she has been accepted as their editor. But Haben tells him to not decide anything on his own. He notices that Gil has highlighted funny comments, because she believes that they are one of the best parts about the video. Haben is impressed, but he feels like she misses an X factor, so he is still doubtful. But then Gil shows him the editing she did on the part where he was about to take off his underwear. Haben is so embarrassed as she describes his barely visible privates in detail that he immediately hires her. However, he has one last question for her. He asks Gil why she decided to join them when she is skilled enough to get hired anywhere. She recalls the day when she saw Haben fight against Pac. Despite the sheer difference in their size and strength, she was impressed by his determination, and ever since then, she has been watching his videos. With that, they shake hands and sign her as their new editor. They even put a redacted video of this on their channel, and Bomi sees it. She is not happy that Haben has time to focus on his YouTube channel, but he is still avoiding her calls and texts. As she is walking, she notices a huge crowd and decides to see what has gathered them. She is shocked to find a bunch of people beaten unconscious on the floor. While a teenage boy is playing video games in the arcade, the leader of the defeated men angrily approaches the boy, asking if he beat his men. However, this disturbs the boy, and he loses the game, so he simply asks the man if he can lend him $1 to resume playing. The man refuses, so the boy kicks him in the face and pummels him just with his powerful kicks. The man leaps at him to grab him and toss him down, but the boy just smirks and hits him with a powerful back kick, knocking him out. On the other hand, Snap and Haben are researching for their new video. They see information about Taehyun, a former MMA fighter who got fired for causing too many problems. Despite that, Taehyun is just a high school student, and rumor has it that he has beaten every student in his school. Snap says that Taehyun practices taekwondo and then laughs at the idiots who got beaten by him. Haben asks if taekwondo is really so weak, and Snap says that all the opponent has to do is watch his kicks and sweep his legs when he tries to attack. He says that even he can beat a taekwondo fighter with this knowledge. But then suddenly Guillaume tells him to grow out of his delusions. She says that sports taekwondo is not good for street fighting, but combat taekwondo is completely different. She says that once a study was conducted to see which martial arts style has the most powerful kicks. In that study, taekwondo outperformed the other martial arts by a great margin. Haben realizes that taekwondo is awesome, but he still has not understood what has this got to do with him. Snap tells him that since their main content idea is fighting bullies, he is going to fight Taehyun next. Haben snaps out at him and grabs him by his collar, asking if he has gone mad to think that. Snap only laughs, while Guillaume tells them how taekwondo is used by many MMA fighters, and it has a special move called the back kick that has virtually no weakness, and it can allow a fighter to win despite having their back towards the opponent. After hearing this, Haben is even more terrified and asks why he has to fight a monster like him. However, little does he know that if he watches the Cockman a little more, he will learn a surefire way to win against Taehyun. On the other hand, the guy whom Bomi saw in the arcade earlier is Taehyun himself. He is a bully who openly vapes at school and wants to get rich easily. He asks a boy to swap his expensive shoes with him, and when he refuses, he knocks down his friend with a kick. This is Taehyun's style, where he holds the friends of his target as hostages until he gets what he wants. However, he doesn't even really like the things he demands. He just wants to fill the hearts of other people with helplessness while he beats their friends. This entire video is available to Haben and crew, thanks to one of his viewers who sent him the information in the anticipation of the next fight. He freaks out on seeing this and realizes that Taehyun is much worse than Pac. He admits that he is scared so he won't fight, but Snap tells him that he can't break his promise to the viewers. However, Haben concludes by saying that he has no reason to fight Taehyun at all, and he is not going to pick up a fight just because he got a tip from a stranger. On the other hand, Taehyun is heading to the arcade after school when the guy whom he beat up yesterday arrives there with his big brother. The big guy starts asking how dare he hit his friend, so Taehyun hits his other friend right in front of him. The big guy tries intimidating him, saying that he is just a sports person and not a real martial artist. He teases him, saying that taekwondo is just child's play, and he can easily defeat any taekwondo master. He leaps at Taehyun, who swiftly moves out of the way and positions himself behind the big guy, and then hits him with a back kick. Taehyun attacks him again, and the man takes guard against his kick, but he changes his attack at the last moment and attacks him from a different direction. The big guy keeps on taking blows after blows, and he is ultimately forced to accept his defeat and apologize. Taehyun asks his injured friend if he has $1 for him to hit the arcade, and he nervously searches his pocket to give him what he wants. Taehyun gets greedy on this, and he kicks the big guy again, asking for $100 this time. The injured man is ready to give that too, so Taehyun hits his friend again, before asking for $10,000. The injured man doesn't have that type of money, and he can only cry as Taehyun hits his friend senseless. Snap is secretly recording all this, and he realizes that Taehyun is an even bigger psychopath than he thought. He is afraid of facing him now, and almost gets caught. Well, he thinks he safely escaped his gaze, but that's just what he thinks. Taehyun catches him and forces him to call Habin there as well. Habin is terrified, and as Taehyun asks them why were they filming him, Snap says that he found his taekwondo moves really cool. Habin is grateful for Snap's quick wits and hopes that he can get them out of this mess. However, his hopes go down the drain when Gil comes running towards them. Habin knows that she has a direct and just personality, and she is sure to pick a fight with anyone. He believes that it might lead to an even worse situation compared to the time when Bomi slapped Pak. However, when Gil sees Taehyun in front of her, she forgets about fighting him and starts kicking a pebble on the side of the road. She is caught too, and she threatens Taehyun that if he hits her, she will call her dad. He remarks that they have shot his video without permission, so Habin and friends apologize, promising that they will delete it. They immediately start walking away, but Taehyun knows that they are from the viral hit channel where they beat up bullies. He has even heard that Habin was planning to beat the crap out of him. Everyone is terrified now, and then Taehyun demands them to hand over their YouTube channel and all the money they have earned from it. Habin is too terrified to reply, and Snap faces the punishment for it. Taehyun kicks him in the gut, and Habin realizes that it is true that he takes the friends of his targets as hostages to fill them with fear and hopelessness. T again asks for a $100, but before they could even reply, he kicks Snap in the face while all he could do is watch, while Gil can only imagine how much that would hurt. He then picks Snap up by the hair and tells Habin to hand over his YouTube channel. Habin tries to reason with him, but feels like there is a lot of distance between him and T, which won't even matter to him because of his insane reach. Habin starts imagining what would happen if he tries to refuse giving away his channel. He realizes that if he tries to use his techniques for defeating ordinary men, it won't work on his, as this monster is not an ordinary man, and his calf kick would immediately be neutralized by a side kick to the face. If he tries coming back from it with an overhand hook, that would also easily get countered by a side kick to the body, as this man knows how to keep fighters at bay away from him. That's when he snaps back to reality as T corners him and asks for his YouTube account once again. Habin realizes that he doesn't really want anything, but only wants to see people suffer and cry, so instead of trying to resist, he happily agrees to hand it over. This takes even T by surprise as Snap and Gil look at him with shocked eyes. T asks what the hell is he talking about, but Habin simply smiles and repeats that he can have his channel if he wants. Habin knows that T can't really make a person feel shame and despair if the person in question is totally shameless with no self-respect. His plan works as T simply slaps him in the face and moves on as he lost interest in the situation. Habin ends up taking Snap to the hospital, as even though he only took a back kick to his chest, that was enough to break one of his ribs, forcing him to be hospitalized. Habin sits there peeling an apple for him like a 19s housewife, while Snap looks in the distance and asks Habin why was he willing to give away the channel. Habin replies that it was a better option than getting their shit rocked completely, so he took that. Snap claims that he would have taken all the beatings from T, but would have never agreed to hand over the channel, as he starts telling Habin about how, when he saw him defeat Pak, he started feeling pride in himself and in the fact that even weak guys like him can defeat these bigger men. He asks whether Habin doesn't have any dignity or pride, but Habin replies that he has a bigger brain than an ego, and comparing Pak with T is incredibly stupid, as Pak is merely a thug, while T is a trained fighter who can kill them if he so wants to. He tells him that it would have been stupid to go in a fight against a person who can easily destroy all of his moves that he knows, and honestly, he is scared of that. He starts moving out of the room, telling Snap that there is nothing wrong in being scared, and apologizes to him before leaving the room. On the way, he ends up walking into Gil, who also came in to check on Snap. Habin tells her to take care of him as he leaves, while Gil greets Snap before sitting down. Snap tries to act all haughty, claiming that T is lucky as he caught him off guard on a bad day, otherwise he would have dealt with him. Gil simply laughs and tells him to stop making such jokes and asks whether he is feeling alone and wants to chat. To her surprise, Snap looks at her with a smile and tells her that he is pretty tired and would like some alone time if possible. Gil looks concerned and shocked but decides to respect his request and leave the room. The moment she exits the room, tears start streaming down his face as he thinks about how pathetic he is. He wanted to show how cool he is in front of Gil, but instead she ended up watching him get his ass handed to him in one of the most disrespectful fashion. Meanwhile, Haben listens to his cries from outside the room as he remembers how he felt when he got attacked while he was out with Bomi, and how Pac disrespected him in front of her. He gets inspiration from it, and the next day he visits the arcade where T usually spends most of his time. The guys sitting there lose once again to him as they get annoyed because he is just better than them, but keep their voices low so as to not let him hear. Suddenly Haben walks up to them and asks whether he could take the machine. They move away while Haben sits down to have a match with him, and to everyone's surprise, Haben shows him the power of gamers and nerds as he defeats T in his very first try. Not only that, but while T's tiny ego was trying to contemplate how he can lose, Haben tries to get him worked up by claiming that Taekwondo is a sport for girls and babies. T walks over to him with a very dangerous aura emanating from him and asks whether he is intentionally trying to mess with him. Haben immediately tells him that he is willing to give him his channel, which T tries to take this time. But Haben pulls his phone away and puts a condition, claiming that he will give away his channel and his friends if T manages to beat him in a fight. Haben is absolutely terrified of this monster right now, but maintains his cool facade. While his trick works and T gets super pissed and grabs his shoulder, pushing him back and asking what would he do if he simply takes it away right here right now. Haben simply snaps back by saying that everyone will know that T is nothing but a coward who can't have a fair fight. He tells him to give him 1 month to prepare and then defeat him if he has the guts to do that. Angered beyond belief, T kicks the machine besides him, smashing it to pieces, which makes Haben piss his pants a little, but he agrees for a match and tells him to send the location before leaving. The next day, Haben tells the entire scenario to his friends in the hospital, while also adding that he had to pay for the broken machine. Gil gets mad at him for doing something so stupid, as he will get killed by T while Snap tries to hold her back. Snap asks why the hell did Haben change his mind when last time he said that he doesn't want to fight against that pro. Haben silently thinks about how he knows the feeling that Snap was feeling, and that's why he is fighting, but doesn't say anything as he gets up and tells them that he is going to prepare well for the fight as 1 month goes by extremely quick. That night, he sits in front of his computer and watches the videos of the cockman as he gives the 3rd lesson, which is about how to defeat a person who knows Taekwondo as a normal guy. Haben eagerly awaits for a special move that will ensure his victory, but to his surprise, the cockman claims that it's impossible for a normal guy to defeat a person who knows Taekwondo. He continues that the best course of option would be to simply give up, as Taekwondo boasts an incredibly smooth footwork with high-intensity kicks that can take your life if landed correctly. This gets him worried as he starts thinking about how his channel would be gone if he loses the match against T. But suddenly, the cockman claims that everything that he said applies in a ring with rules, but if the fight happens outside the ring without any rules, then there is a small chance of victory. He claims that beating Taekwondo in a street fight is very simple. If you don't let them use their kicks, the match is already won. Controlling the environment is the key factor for it, as if you can make the fight happen in a more slippery condition where they don't have proper control of grip, then using their kicks would be difficult, especially if the area is narrow as well. Haben looks at the calendar and decides that controlling the environment may be possible if he fights him on a rainy day in a month. Moreover, the cockman tells him to brush up his skills as calf kicks can be used in restrictive areas as well, plus he should have his overhand ready in case of emergencies. He practices both of his moves diligently every day and night, and just when he thinks he has a standing chance, the cockman claims that even after all this, his chances for beating a pro would be 5%. Haben starts getting hopeless, but the cockman replies that there is one move though which can increase the chances to 40%, and that move is known as the tackle. For a martial arts technique where the use of your legs is mandatory, their worst enemy becomes wrestlers and grapplers, as if they are able to tackle them to the ground. To train your muscles to become stronger for a tackle, he starts using water as resistance training, while people make fun of him for having a very small thing. Moreover, the cockman claims that training your ab is one of the most important things, as not only will they increase your stability and power, but they will also be important to take hits against a Taekwondo practitioner who uses back kicks to hurt people. One day, Snap and Gil head over to Haben's house to check on him with the stream when they find him hanging in the cupboard to increase his core strength. He falls to the ground after a while, completely tired, but gets up once once again and starts doing crunches with the improvised weights while his viewers can't seem to understand this weird training. Gil decides to help him and starts kicking him in the stomach to increase his resistance, while all Snap could do is feel jealous of Haben. Weeks pass by very quickly after that, and soon the day of the fight comes. Haben decides to have the fight in an alleyway near his own house and has been checking the weather forecast for a week, knowing that today is the highest chance for rain. He prays to the gods just in case when Snap comes out of nowhere and tells Haben happily that today is not going to rain according to the news, not knowing that the rain was important to Haben's plan. Haben immediately starts panicking as there is no point of having the fight at the location without rain, and immediately starts running away while Snap pauses the stream to go after him. T was watching all this on his phone while in the bathroom when suddenly someone sprays water on him. Angrily, he turns around to see Haben there, who starts showering him and the entire area with water to rile him up with anger and to make the floor slippery. T gets down and tries to kick but realizes that he has no grip for it. Haben immediately tries to go for a takedown, but T lands a beautiful hook that completely rocks him as he forgot all about the fact that T is a pro MMA fighter who can also use his fists. Snap records the entire ordeal as T slaps the crap out of Haben, asking whether he thought T could only use kicks. Before he could get slapped again, Haben strengthens himself and lands a clean calf kick on T, who wasn't expecting it because of the water on the floor. It turns out though that Haben especially bought a pair of shoes that have anti-slip material and then practiced with it in the bathhouse. T grabs a hold of his calves in pain while Haben gives a thumbs up to the camera and tells his views to like and subscribe if they want to enjoy the full fight. At the time Haben was busy posing in front of the camera, T had already gotten up. He punches Haben, who barely avoids getting hit, but then T throws another punch. As Haben dodges it, he wonders when did he get up and how he can move so well on this slippery floor, even without anti-slip shoes. T punches Haben directly in the face, making him realize that he is completely outskilled. At that moment, Haben realizes the importance of footwork. Gil joins the chat and comments that even though T is slipping, he is using that momentum to close in on his enemy. As T moves closer to him, Haben decides to give up on escaping from him. Instead, he uses his calf kick to stall him, and declares that this fight is just beginning. But the truth is that taking some heavy hits has quickly drained his stamina. Haben then lands another calf kick on T, but this time he counterattacks and hits him with a punch. Snap is worried about the direction the fight is heading in. For starters, he wants Haben to stop yelling the name of his move before attacking, and then he wants him to try something other than the calf kicks. Snap suddenly realizes that Haben might actually have a plan. He might just be trying to get his opponent used to him shouting the name of the move before attacking. This way, he can trick him with a surprise overhead punch instead. That is exactly what Haben was planning. He moves towards T, yelling calf kick, but instead tackles him out of nowhere. Even T is taken aback by that. But Haben doesn't seem to have enough power to bring him down. In that moment, he remembers the words of Kochman, who told him how to target the opponent's vital points with a tackle. The easiest point to target is the back of the knee, pulling which can help you cast down even a much heavier enemy. Haben does just that, and throws T to the floor. Both of them are surprised by the success of the move, and Snap feels that something bad is soon going to happen, because T won't go down so easily. Nevertheless, Haben is on top now, and Snap as well as the viewers are excited because they believe that he can just punch his enemy senseless. However, Kochman had forbidden him from throwing careless punches at a pro. Instead, he had taught him a move he could use to knock out the enemy quickly and surely. Haben swiftly puts his hand behind T's back and grabs his collar. He then puts his second hand on the other side and grabs the collar there too, forming a cross. Now all he has to do is tightly clench his fists and pull the collar as hard as he can. This was what he trained for while developing his core strength by hanging on the bar. As Haben is finally in the cross-choke position, his viewers can't believe that he pulled out a secret move at such a time. Haben counts to 10, because that is how long it takes for an opponent under the cross-choke to black out. But surprisingly, T is just fine. He tells Haben that his legs are not on top of him, and that is his first mistake. Haben can't understand why the cross-choke didn't work, and then T asks him if this is his first real fight. This is where the first rule of fighting, that is, to never get worked up, backfires on Haben, because he panicked when his cross-choke didn't work. He gave T the chance to punch him. Haben begins to curse himself, thinking that he is a fool who couldn't achieve anything even after all that training. He is flung towards a urinal while realizing that he lost track of the basics because he was so occupied with executing a special attack. T is back on his feet now, and he tells Haben that he deserves some credit for the tackle and cross-choke move he just pulled. Snap thinks that they were too close to victory, and so do the viewers. But Gil says that earlier T let Haben tackle him down on purpose. T reveals the reason for that too, as he shows Haben one of his anti-slip shoes that he just took away. Haben panics, realizing that he has not done any damage to the enemy and has already lost his biggest advantage. As T puts on the anti-slip shoe, Haben realizes that he is screwed. Cockman's lesson clearly told him that if he cannot stop a taekwondo user from using his kicks, the only thing left for him is to run away. Meanwhile, Kim was watching this live broadcast from a cafe, and Bomi was with him too. She doesn't want to watch the fight, even though Kim insists. He knows that she is upset with Haben because he has been ignoring her calls and messages ever since that day. And she replies that she doesn't even want to talk about him. She feigns that she is not interested in the fight. But as Kim remarks that Haben just pulled a good move, she eagerly leans over him to watch it. She asks him if Haben wins with that. But seeing the shabby attempt at a chokehold, Kim denies that. He turns off the phone, and Bomi pesters him to turn it on quickly. Kim tells her that it is better if she doesn't watch what is going to happen next. Back at the fight scene, Haben seems to have entered depression because of his failure. Snap yells at him to come back to his senses, and even the viewers comment that it is no time to cry. Haben accepts that he never had a chance against T from the very beginning. He keeps his head down as he apologizes to the viewers, who refuse to accept his apology and cheer him on. However, as Snap yells at him, asking if he doesn't want to make money, Haben quickly returns to his senses. He gets up to fight again, and he thanks all the viewers for motivating him. He recalls what Cockman said about taekwondo fighters needing both their legs to unleash their full power. Also, T's dominant kicking leg is his right leg, in which he is wearing an anti-slip shoe. Haben believes that T will use it as a support and kick only using his left leg, so he still has a chance. Suddenly, he sees T's foot right in front of his face, while he seems too far away. The very next moment, Haben gets kicked in the chest and begins gasping for air as his mind goes blank. His vision gets hazy, and he can't even think what to do next. He decides to attack T, almost out of habit, but T lands a solid kick to his face. Haben tries using a calf kick next, but the result is still the same. T launches a combo of kicks to his face without even moving from his place. He then lifts his foot high up and strikes Haben's bare foot with his heel. Haben screams in pain, but T tells him to stop reacting like a girl because he didn't even break his bones yet. Snap is on the verge of crying, and he yells at T to stop it. He does not have any plans to show mercy and decides to finish the fight with the fanciest and most powerful move he has, the back kick. He hits Haben right in the guts, and Snap is brought to his knees by the shock too. Haben is unconsciously drooling now, and T pokes him, calling him lucky that he didn't receive a kick from his right foot. He then moves on to Snap, saying that, as promised, he will take over the YouTube channel now, and Snap will have to work for him. Snap suddenly notices something behind and says, "Stop." But T says that they have not even started yet. Snap tells him that he is not talking to him, and T turns around to find Haben back on his feet with just half his consciousness. He begins mumbling about how taekwondo back kicks are dangerous, even if they don't hit you properly. He recalls how hard he trained to develop an endurance for it, and then gets in fighting position again, repeating the name of the title of his video, How to Fight a Taekwondo Fighter as a Regular Person. Haben stands in a toilet with walls on 3 sides and tells his viewers to stay tuned. The viewers are going crazy because Haben really got up after all that damage, even though no one believes that he can win this fight. Even Snap tells him to give up now because money is not worth this. But Haben is not fighting for money. He is fighting for Snap's honor and their friendship. T mocks him for thinking that being in a toilet with 3 sides closed will allow him to win. Haben is shivering as he says that it will, and T decides to prove him wrong. He launches another powerful back kick at him. But then, to everyone's surprise, Haben hangs on the door frame of the toilet and dodges the kick. He then jumps on T, tackling him down while he still tries to process the sudden changes. T falls to the ground, and this time, Haben is placed firmly on top of him. He puts his hands around his neck once again, and this time, he pulls him like he pulled the garbage bag using the cord. This flawless baseball choke amazes even Kim, who returned to watching the livestream because of Bomi's insistence. The chokehold succeeds in knocking out T, who made a bet with Haben because he thought of him as a mere insect. T looked at his puny body and thought of him as nothing but a toy to play rough with. Now, that same toy is filling him with shame as he strangles him in front of the entire world. This defeat reminds T of the first time he lost in the professional circuit. His opponent at that time used the same technique, and he was forced to tap out. T taps out to Haben too, signaling that he has accepted his disgraceful defeat. Snap rejoices at seeing this and runs to Haben, telling him that he has won the fight. Despite that, Haben does not let go. He was fighting like this for the first time, And in the heat of the moment, he was so focused on finishing his move that he didn't even feel T tapping out. He keeps counting to 10 slowly, even as Snap tells him to let go before he kills T. However, Snap's voice would never reach Haben, who is so high on adrenaline that he can't even hear his own voice. He could only recall Cockman's lesson, where he told him to count to 10 once he had the opponent in a baseball choke to ensure that he passed out, or the opponent would return to fight. Haben finishes counting to 10 and slams the unconscious T on the wet floor. He finally understands that he has won the fight, and his comment section is a riot. On the other hand, T is having a dream of the time he lost in the ring. His ambitions were shattered by that loss, and his opponent was none other than Kim, who had enough decency to lend him a hand to get back on his feet. T wakes up thinking about that when he finds Haben and Snap trying to drag him out of the washroom. Snap wants to leave him and run, but Haben wants to do the right thing by carrying him to a comfortable place. T asks them what the hell they are doing, and they cling to each other in terror, trying to explain things to him. He grabs Haben's neck for trying to show him mercy, but Haben just gives him his watch that fell on the floor. T is frustrated now, and he simply pushes Haben aside as he gets up and walks away. He accepts his defeat and tells Haben that he can keep his YouTube channel. Once he is out of the washroom, Haben and Snap can finally breathe in peace. But suddenly, Snap points out that he is sweating like crazy. Haben begins acting strange, saying that girls don't like the smell of sweat, which is why he uses an amazing medicated body spray after workouts to get rid of the smell. The viewers are dumbfounded by the sudden and unexpected sponsor ad placement, but they can't deny that it is really funny and eye-catching. They keep cracking jokes on Haben as he advertises the body spray. With that, the stream ends, and both Haben and Snap scream to let out the pent-up tension. After that, it is the work of editor Gil. At night, she edits the video for their channel and worries about Haben, who took such heavy blows. She uploads the video too, and it gets 3 million views almost instantly, and the number of subscribers also almost doubles. Haben thanks the viewers for doing his trademark handstand and then returns to his school life. Snap talks to him about how the edits made the video much better, and because of working with a pro, the views are still pouring in. However, little do they know what tragedies this video will bring into their lives very soon. The next day, Bomi is watching Haben's video while hiding behind the counter of the McDonald's. Suddenly, a gigantic man comes to the counter and tells her that she is super cute. Bomi quickly gets up and asks the man what he wants, and he repeats that she looks too cute. He demands her number, but she politely refuses to give it to him. The big guy is also a big creep, and he keeps demanding her number as he orders her to prepare 30 Big Macs for him. Bomi gives him the Big Macs but refuses her details, so the big creep just scoops his burgers in his hands and walks away. Turns out that the big creep has been coming regularly to their store to harass Bomi. She remembers how Haben helped her out when Pak was pestering her. She also thinks that the day she walked away with Kim, she abandoned Haben, and that thought fills her with regret. On the other hand, the big creep goes to work at a huge meat factory, where some workers are wondering how to pick up carcasses weighing over 200 kilos. That is easy work for the big creep, and he picks up one on his shoulder and begins walking away, still thinking about how he can get to date Bomi. Some of the workers are shocked to see this, but their superior tells them that the fatty named Mangi is a popular Korean sumo wrestler. Mangi is unbothered by their chatter, and he carries the meat effortlessly on his shoulders while watching Haben's YouTube videos. He seems to know T, and thinks that if he can beat Haben in a fight, he will have more views and subscribers than him. Meanwhile, Haben and Snap are busy enjoying their success. Snap says that the edits Gil did made the video so much better, yet Haben was doubtful about hiring her at first. He then suddenly springs an important question to Haben, asking if he is really fine after receiving such powerful kicks from T when he was hospitalized with just one. Haben just laughs it off, and then remarks that speaking from his experience as a pro-bullying victim, he could tell that T was not like other bullies. He even goes to say that he might be a better person than they think, and Snap tells him that it is not a good thing to be so optimistic. However, Haben clearly saw how T's reactions changed when he returned his watch. It was almost as if he was regretting the path he had chosen. He wishes to see him again, and this surprises Snap. Haben then asks him if he has any update on T, and he tells him that the image of him lying down on a wet floor was very appealing to the female audience, so he has become very famous. Snap thinks that he can become a millionaire if he starts an OnlyFans, but apparently T doesn't even know about it. Snap starts walking ahead, and Haben suddenly takes back what he said about T being a decent guy. Tears appear in his eyes because he is jealous that T is getting more female attention than him even after losing the fight. On the other hand, Gil is preparing a to-do list, which is basically steps on how she can stop acting and talking like an old person. She is happy to complete the list. But then suddenly, a plastic snake drops on her desk. Gil freaks out and falls down, using some boomer lingo to express her surprise. She then hears the voices of her classmates laughing, who are here to bully her for always talking like an old person. They are even filming her, and Gil gets mad at that. She yells at them that it is bad to film someone without their permission and tries to take the phone away from their hand. But it is out of her reach. However, the bullies realize that just recording her won't get them too many views, so their leader decides to delete it. But since Gil is still jumping and getting on his nerves, he pushes her down. He tells her to be quiet if she wants her video deleted, and she gets up, even more angry at them. The bullies start dragging Haben into the matter too. They say that if they mess with Gil too much, Haben may show up and use his stupid headbutt to stop their punches. They laugh at him, and that pisses Gil even more. She charges at the bullies, telling them not to underestimate Haben's move because even real pros use it. Well, the leader of the bullies uses the same headbutt defense against her, and Gil ends up hurting her fist. The leader laughs and the girls in his gang grab Gil's collar, telling her that she doesn't look cute at all when she talks like an old person. They tell her that if she can't talk like normal people, she should just go back to kindergarten and learn the alphabet properly. Gil begins crying, saying that she tries her best but can't control it. Suddenly, someone arrives at the door, asking if all the first years nowadays are as crude as them. The bullies turn around to find Snap at the doorway, acting like an alpha male as he calls them out for bullying Gil. Gil is relieved to receive some help, but Snap proves to be a total loser when it comes to fighting and gets his ass handed to him quickly. Gil goes to his side and tells the bullies that they should respect their elders, but they just laugh, saying that Snap is a stupid guy with a stupid name. The leader of the bullies says that it is Gil's fault for calling him here, and he tries slapping her, but Haben arrives there just in time and grabs his hand. The bully tells him that he looks shorter in person, and Haben quickly finds himself surrounded by the first-year bullies, where even the girls are taller than him. Haben demands to know if they hit Snap, and the leader says that he deserved it. He challenges Haben for a spar, and the other bullies start making fun of him, saying that of course he won't accept it. They accuse him of staging his fight with T, and then the bully leader tells Haben that he also has a YouTube channel, and they should fight with their channels on the line. Haben thinks that he must show these brats their place by acting threatening like T. So he tries to be as intimidating as he can and asks them if they have 100 yen, copying T's style. Instead of fearing him, they hand him a 100 yen coin and then start laughing at him. Haben is dying from embarrassment, but he quickly gets into a fighting stance as he sees the bully getting ready to hit him. However, Kim appears behind him just then, and his death stare is enough to make the bully wet his pants and run away. Later, Haben and his two friends can finally breathe a sigh of relief. They thank Kim for solving things without violence, and then Snap remarks that Gil seems to be facing many troubles in her class. He asks her what type of content the bullies put on YouTube, and she says that they just prank random people on the street. What pisses her off is that they are quite popular despite their horrible attitude. Snap thinks this is a chance to impress Gil, and he suddenly starts yelling at Haben. He tells him that Gil was in danger because of the bullies earlier, and they must teach them a lesson. He lashes at him for just standing there silently instead of fighting, and claims that even though he lost, he still put up a fight. Haben fights back, saying that he is also super annoyed, not because they were bullying Gil, but because they were making fun of his technique. Suddenly, Haben leans to face Gil and gently caresses her hair. Apologizing for not fighting earlier, he promises that if she is in trouble again, he will surely fight for her, and she finds herself being overwhelmed by his riz. At night, as Haben is trying to sleep, he can only picture the interaction he had with Kim after he saved them. Kim asked him if he was fine, and then told Haben to call Bomi immediately. He said that it may be hard for him, but Bomi is a good girl who doesn't deserve being ghosted. Haben was left speechless at this, because he didn't think he could ever face Bomi after the disgraceful performance. On the other hand, Gil is still feeling butterflies in her stomach because of how Haben treated her earlier. She has developed a crush on him that distorts even her memories, and she thinks that he stood against the bullies for her. She takes out her overflowing emotions on her huge cat plushie, and then abruptly decides to contact Haben, because she has some special medicinal herbs to give him. The next day, Bomi is working at McDonald's when the fat creep Manji comes there and stares at her lewdly. She can only breathe a sigh of relief as he leaves, but she is still terrified that he might be waiting outside for her when her shift ends. Just then, she hears a familiar voice from the next customer and turns around to find Haben there. He tries to greet her, but she slams a bowl of ice and a strawberry in front of him and tells him to get going. Haben realizes that she is really mad at him, but he knows that it is justified because he is popping up in front of her after 2 months of ghosting her. He thinks that he should run away before he angers her any further, but picks up the strawberry and ice. Bomi was keeping an eye on him, and she notices that he has written notes on his hands about how to properly talk to her and apologize. She laughs at that, but then tries covering up in front of Haben, saying that his hands are smeared with ink. He hides his hands behind his back, but the fact that Bomi laughed at him is enough for him. He tries to get closer to her again, but Bomi suddenly remarks that he seems to have hired a female editor. She smiles at him, full of contempt and jealousy. Haben is too dull to understand it, but he is truly terrified of her. He tries to explain things to her and tells her about Gil, but that only makes things worse as Bomi asks Haben if he finds the editor cute. He trembles in fear because he knows there is no right answer to that question. But then suddenly, Yezi arrives there. She asks Haben to tell Bomi if she is cute or not, and he says that she is cute. He asks her if she followed him here, and she simply tells him that she needs his opinion on something. They start bickering. Gil playfully punches him, and Haben blocks it with a headbutt. Seeing them like this, Bomi realizes that Gil is really cute, and she begins fearing for her position in Haben's life. However, Gil suddenly gifts her the bag of medicinal herbs. She tells Bomi not to get the wrong idea, and states that Haben always talks about her. Haben freaks out because he doesn't want Gil to expose him, but she simply ignores him. She tells Bomi that since Haben is an idiot who can't even properly apologize to her, she came here to cover up for him. He tells her to stop, but Gil asks him if he doesn't want to patch up with Bomi. He blushes and says that he does, and Bomi just smiles. She tells the embarrassed Haben to text her later, and he gets too excited. Seeing them like this, Gil takes her leave, making up an excuse that her toenail has grown, just like Haben did in the past. As she turns her back to them, her cheerful mood suddenly vanishes, because she shattered her hopes to be with her crush with her own hands. Haben can't understand this, but Bomi seems to have an idea. Gil walks home, singing songs to suppress her sadness, but that doesn't work, and she keeps on imagining how Haben told her that she was cute. She kicks a pole in frustration, but ends up hurting her own leg. The next day, Bomi is walking around the town while happily chatting with Haben, when someone tells her that there is something in her bag. She takes a look and a snake pops out, shocking her. Bomi falls on the road, and the bullies from Gil's class surround her, saying that their prank is successful. They tell her that they were shooting for their YouTube channel and apologize for startling her. Their leader asks her if they can upload her video, but she is too stunned to even process what just happened. Suddenly, a speeding car comes towards her, and Bomi can only helplessly sit on the ground as it hits her. At the same time, Haben and his friends are watching the old videos of the bullies. They are a one-trick pony, and the only thing they do is throw fake snakes to scare people on the road for some laughs. Haben thinks that they are decently funny, and not only that, they seem to be extremely polite with the people they prank. He is pissed that they are pretending to be good guys while the camera is on. While they bullied Gil and beat Snap earlier, Snap remarks that they have over 700,000 subscribers, and Haben freaks out. He says that they should also start throwing snakes on people, but Snap tells him that the fake snake prank is not the only thing they do. Haben says that they should also do things like this, but Snap suggests that they should rather do 3 fights a week. Haben immediately gives him a taste of baseball choke for that, while Gil is closely monitoring the editing of the video. Just then, the shark hoodie guy pops up behind her and gives her a jump scare. The rest of the bullies are there too. One girl keeps ruffling Haben's hair, telling him that he looks super thin and she can also defeat him in a fight. Another guy pokes Snap's forehead and he just wants to run home. They bully them some more and then call them losers who don't have even 200,000 subscribers before leaving. Haben yells at them, swearing that he will prank them one day too. However, Snap tells him that it is not so simple. Pranking people is a risky method, because a lot of unexpected things could happen while filming. For people who do pranks without scripts, those unexpected things might turn into big accidents too. Suddenly, Haben gets a text from Bomi and he forgets everything about Snap's explanation. He eagerly checks his phone, but is shocked to find out that she has been hospitalized. Kim is already there in the hospital room, and he asks Bomi how she injured her leg so badly. She tells him that a car nearly ran over her, but he asks her for more details. Bomi tells him about the fake snake prank, and she actually sprained her leg badly when she fell down. She was too dazed by things that she didn't pay attention to a car speeding towards her. Luckily, the driver had enough control of the car and he was able to apply brakes before hitting her. Bomi was not hurt by that. But when she turned around, she found the bullies giggling menacingly as they were recording the entire thing. She was nearly hit, but they only cared about their content, and that made her really angry. Just then, Haben also arrives there, and he only heard the part that the bullies were laughing at her. He is furious, but Bomi tries to tell him that it was no big deal because she is not injured. However, he only apologizes to her. Bomi asks him what does he mean, and he prefers texting her his feelings rather than saying them out loud. He texts her that he is sorry that he was not the first one by her side. He then texts her to rest and get well soon, and leaves the room with that. Bomi tries to stop him, but he keeps walking out. Inside his mind, he apologizes to Bomi for not saying these things directly to her. He then sends her another text, saying that since Kim is already there, he will be leaving early today. Haben thinks about the unspoken rule of losers. They don't act up in front of people stronger than themselves. That is why he doesn't want to act big in front of Kim. However, he has found some content for his next video, and he is surprised that it was always so close to him. The next day, he reaches school and marches ahead into the classroom of the bullies with full camera setup. He declares that he will crush them, and his chat goes crazy because they have never seen him so pissed before. Before picking up this fight, Haben had watched another video from Cockman. It was about defeating multiple opponents, and the 3 boys from the bully gang sprang up in Haben's mind as he thought of that. Earlier today, he was sitting on his desk, talking about beating the bullies, when Snap suddenly slid over his desk. He asks the freaked out Haben the reason that he changed his mind because he was too scared to fight earlier. Snap warns him that this situation is different from fighting T, because there are 3 opponents this time. Haben just gives him a confident smile, saying that there is no way he can fight 3 people at once, and Snap laughs at him before cursing him out loud. However, Haben has some other plans. He admits that fighting 3 people at once will be too much for an amateur like him, and he will surely get beaten. The truth was that Haben didn't trust Cockman's last video. It was the first time that he didn't trust his online teacher. On the other hand, the bullies are checking out some of their videos this month. One of them is a man acting like a gangster to scare a woman in an elevator, and the other one is where the boys call the cops on Shark Hood for smoking. Both the videos have over 8 million views combined, and that means they earned over $20,000 already. The boys surround Shark Hoodie Guy and ask him to give them their cut already. They keep laughing and chatting all the way, and don't even pay Haben and his friends, who are sneaking up on them, any attention. Snap asks Haben if he heard what they were talking about earlier, and the only thing he heard was about the $20,000. He then recalls that Bomi told him that they seem to stage their content, but they don't have any proof of that. Snap tells him that they might have some proof. He opens the elevator video and asks Haben to find what is wrong in the video. He can't see anything wrong because the woman in the lift appears genuinely terrified. Snap admits that her tears have tricked everyone else too, and the thing that no one paid any attention to is the buttons inside the elevator. Snap explains that the video is 2 minutes long, but there are only 7 floors in the building according to the elevator. He says that either the elevator moves at a snail pace to cover the 7 floors in 2 minutes, or the woman just pretended to press the button. Both Haben and Gil are shocked as they try to process this. Snap says that most of the time, if content is entertaining, the viewers don't worry about the minor details. So many YouTubers use this to their advantage. They hire professional actors to stage their videos. Snap then tells about the video where they called cops on the boy smoking. He asks why would the cops bother with a teenager smoking, and then reveals that he went to the police station to get some inside info. He learned that they went to check the area not because of the smoking complaint, but because the bully girls told them that they spotted a wanted criminal. Haben is left speechless on hearing all this, and Snap says that they have enough proof now that the bullies stage their comedy videos. He says that they can use this to expose them. But Haben says that they are still missing the final blow. He wants something that will seal the bullies' fate, just like they did with Pac. Just then, the TikTok thought Rumi appears behind them and asks them when are they going to collab with her. Because they promised to do so earlier, she already has an idea about the video too. She wants Haben to spill coffee on her shirt, because that will surely get them a lot of views from the online incels. She grabs their ties, saying that since everything is staged already, they should also do it. She says that they should already get rehearsing, but Haben refuses to do so. He says that Bomi got hurt because of a staged event, and he will never do something like that. He tells Rumi that if she wants to do such things, she should go to the comedy crew. While she acts mad at him, Rumi takes up his offer and does the coffee spilling prank to the bullies. She thanks Haben for giving him this wonderful idea, and then the bullies praise her acting skills. They say that they don't usually do staged videos, but this time, the idea was good. Rumi tells them to stop lying to a fellow YouTuber, because everyone stages their content and the viewers never get it. The leader of the bullies begins smoking as he agrees with her. He says that their viewers are a bunch of idiots who never catch the details, but at least they fill their pockets. They roast their viewers, and then Rumi suggests they shoot some more videos and asks if they have any ideas. The leader says that for his next video, he plans to expose Haben's channel viral hit. He is sure that a worm like him couldn't defeat T in 100 years. He believes that Haben staged the fight, but Rumi can attest that he did not. That doesn't matter to the bully, and he says that they can just edit the video to make it look like the fight was staged. He says that the viewers are hungry for drama, and they don't care about truth. He believes that just editing one video perfectly will be able to bring the channel down, and Haben will return to being a loser. The bully leader laughs, saying that the reason celebrities are trolled so badly is because it is easy to make up things online. Rumi says that it is too extreme for her, and she can't help them with it. She takes her leave, but then the bully leader stops her. He shows her the recording of her insulting the audience and asks if she wants to get cancelled before Haben. He tells her to join an alliance with him, but then Rumi shows that she was recording everything the entire time as well. She reveals that she made a deal with Haben that if she can get video evidence that they were staging their content, she will do a collab with Viral Hit. What is more, the entire session was being streamed live, and the viewers know the entire truth. To top it off, Haben and his crew were hiding in the shadows the entire time. As they make their entrance, the bullies are stunned. Rumi tosses the phone over to Snap, who puts it in his device, because it was Haben's phone to begin with. Rumi then tells the bullies that no matter how much money they make, she will never stage a show like them. She gives Haben a high five, and he thanks her, before apologizing because the part where she was bad-mouthing the viewers was broadcasted too. He then moves on to the bullies. Thinking about the way to beat multiple opponents at one, he gets closer to the bully leader and intimidates him with his stern expressions. However, what really terrifies the bully is that Haben is towering over him. His height seems to have increased all of a sudden, and his shoulders are broader too. Actually, when Haben was watching the videos, Kochman told him that unless he masters at least 10 of his skills, there is no way that he can beat multiple opponents. Haben panicked at Kochman started running away, but then he said psych and told him that even without fighting, one can win against multiple opponents. The best way to do that is by bluffing and intimidating the enemies like insects and animals do. Using that technique, Haben gets the upper hand on the bullies, even though he is so nervous that he can piss his pants any moment. He tells them to hand over the video containing Bomi and then run away. However, as he steps on the drainage channel, his bluff is suddenly exposed as his legs twist. His shoe rolls towards the bullies, and they realize that he was using insoles to appear bigger. Haben realizes that he is screwed now, and he can only ask for his shoe back. Haben begins running as the bullies chase after him, and for the first time, he doesn't hear Kochman's voice in his head. He is too excited to keep a level head, and confronts the one who is at the forefront. The bully throws a punch at him, but Haben uses his headbutt to embrace the impact, and then uses his lethal calf kick against him. For the first time in forever, he realizes that he grew stronger without even noticing it. However, that does not change the fact that he is fighting 3 people at once, and his previous calf kick has done no damage. Kim is also watching the fight from the gym, and his friends ask him what does he see in the tiny shrimp called Haben, and he just asks them if they could force themselves to practice just one type of kick 10,000 times in 1 month. Kim's gym friends can't believe that Haben did 10,000 calf kicks in just 1 month, because that is no ordinary feat. Kim affirms and says that any ordinary person who gets hit by a strong calf kick won't even be able to move. That is what is happening with the bullies. While they are trying to show that they are unfazed by the kick, their legs hurt so much that they cannot move. They somehow tough it out, but they are sweating like crazy. However, their leader doesn't move from his place even though he has not been kicked, and that confuses Kim. His master, Logan, who is an MMA triple champion, knows the answer. He tells Kim that he must have some problem with his eyes to not notice that Haben just used the technique of intimidation on his enemies. The bully leader is quite nervous just because his lackeys got hit, but he tries acting tough by saying that he is still wondering how he should beat up Haben. Well, Haben is thinking that for real. He realizes that his heart is beating like crazy, and even though he is scared, he is too excited to just stop, and his face becomes like that of a typical molester. Just then, Gil tells everyone to stop because she has one of the bully girls in a baseball choke. She tells the bullies to back away if they don't want to see their friend get knocked out, and the bullies actually see this as a chance to escape. Their leader says that he can't do anything because Gil took his friend hostage. Otherwise, he would have beaten the crap out of Haben. They leave the place, and Gil acts smug as she tells Haben that he doesn't need to thank her. However, no one has noticed it yet that this encounter awakened something inside Haben. He was having fun just now, and he thinks that he must have gone crazy. His friends celebrate their victory, but Haben cannot remove his hands from his face. Soon, the video about teaching the comedy crew a lesson is uploaded, and it gets 2-3 million views in 1 week. The bullies try apologizing to their audience and promise to change, but after what they said about fooling the audience, no one trusts them anymore. Eventually, they end up closing their channel. They even lose the guts to bully Gil anymore. However, there is another trouble brewing somewhere. As Bomi returns home from work late at night, she is constantly terrified and on the watch for a stalker. Suddenly, Haben texts her, saying that going home alone late at night is dangerous, especially when she has felt a stalker chasing her recently. He offers to walk her home, but she politely refuses. As she is lost in her screen, she bumps into someone, and a look of horror spreads on her face as she sees the gigantic frame of her stalker. He is Mangi, a Korean sumo wrestler, who wants to make Bomi his at any cost. He calls her cute and licks his lips, and then creepily gets close to her as he reminds her that they are alone right now. Suddenly, Kim arrives there out of nowhere and grabs Mangi's hand. He asks Bomi if this is the idiot who is stalking her, but before she can give an answer, Mangi grabs Kim's neck and tells him to get lost. Well, Kim begins to fondle the blobs of fat on his chest, and says that first step of combat is to get your opponent worked up. That is the same line Haben uses, and Mangi asks him if he is a viral hit ripoff. Kim just smirks and tells him to test it out if he is a ripoff, and says that today he will show how to beat a sumo wrestler as a pro fighter. Kim puts Mangi in a complex armbar and uses his entire body weight to force him to tap out. However, Mangi uses his incredible physical strength to simply lift him up, and tries slamming him to the ground. His empty hands hit the ground as Kim swiftly moved away mid-air. He remarks that fighting Mangi is like fighting a boar, so he will also stop considering this as a match. And Mangi rushes at him like a wild boar, knocking Bomi down in the process. Just then, Haben comes there, and he charges at Mangi while screaming frantically. A few minutes earlier, he got concerned when Bomi suddenly stopped responding to his texts and rushed towards her. When he saw the fatty knocking her down, he charged at him in blind rage. Mangi is not just an ordinary sumo wrestler. He practices traditional Korean wrestling, which is like sumo but more brutal. At the age of 17, he reached the peak of the Korean wrestling world. He loves wrestling, but more than that, he loves girls. Also, he hates men, and the more handsome they are, the more passionate his hatred becomes. He once beat down a bunch of guys who were trying to protect a girl from him, because he can't let anyone have romance in his life if he doesn't have it. The next day after Haben's encounter with the giant incel, he has lost all his cheerfulness. He hides in the broom cupboard, muttering that he got humiliated in front of Bomi again. Snap and Gil are there to check up on him, and they tell him that he should be grateful that Kim was at the location, or he would have really died. As for getting humbled in front of his crush again, Snap suggests Haben to forget it, because he can't pick up a fight with Mangi like he did with Pak. Haben also thinks that the fear he felt when Mangi slammed him to the ground was so great that he has lost all confidence in himself. Snap tries to comfort him, saying that Mangi is a wild animal, and the only response to seeing him should be to run away and call the cops. He is grateful that at least their viewers don't know that Haben lost to Mangi. Just then, Gil checks up her phone and gives the two boys the worst news possible. Turns out that Mangi also has a YouTube channel, and he posted the picture of him defeating Haben on it. Because of that, the viewers are going crazy, and making up a lot of things that are ruining Haben's image. And Snap is totally freaked out now. He wanted to let time pass and bury this incident. But now that the viewers are involved, it has blown out of proportion. Their viewers seem like they want them to challenge Mangi for a revenge match, but Haben seems too out of it. Gil tries deleting the malicious comments and tells Haben to not worry about anything. She sees him lost in thought and asks if he is thinking about fighting Mangi again, but then Snap says that he won't allow it. He tells Haben that if he wants to keep being a YouTuber, he has to survive. If he fights Mangi, he might really die or end up in a wheelchair. Snap declares that he will solve this problem for him. And while Haben agrees, he feels that his chest is heavy for some reason. At night, Snap live streams an explanation video and tells the viewers that the encounter with Mangi was purely accidental. He apologizes for any confusion, and thanks to the sympathy of the viewers, the public sentiment shifts in their favor. However, Haben feels even more gloomy that he doesn't have to fight Mangi now. He wonders if it is because of Bomi, because earlier she texted him to make sure that he doesn't fight the perverted beast. She told him that she was worried that he would get hurt, but Haben wonders what will happen if he doesn't take on Mangi. He believes that the sumo wrestler will keep harassing Bomi, and he doesn't want that to happen at all. To get his mind out of those morbid thoughts, he decides to watch some YouTube videos. He finishes a mukbang video, and then suddenly, the next video on his feed is Cockman's How to Beat a Sumo Wrestler as an Ordinary Person. Haben gets his hopes up, but Cockman tells him that there is no way for an ordinary person to beat a grappler. Haben checks all his videos, but there is nothing about beating people who practice wrestling and other grappling martial arts. He feels a sharp pain in his heart that there is no way for him to beat Mangi. But then he realizes that this intense pain might not exactly be because he is worried for Bomi. Suddenly, he gets what has been troubling him all this time, and his eyes sparkle at this discovery. The next morning, Haben calls Snap, who is coming to his home anyway. Snap begins talking about how he changed the narrative in their favor, and now they don't have to fight Mangi. But Haben seems to have other intentions. He has portable camera mounted on his head, and he is cycling towards the market where Mangi works. Haben tells Snap that he is going to challenge Mangi to a fight, and the flustered Snap can only tell him to stop. However, Haben has realized that he has become addicted to adrenaline. He doesn't care if it comes with the excitement of a fight or from fear. He wants it. That is why he approaches Mangi, who is overseeing some pig carcasses. Haben taunts Mangi, asking if he is waiting in line to get processed. He knows that this might not end up well for him, but he still wants to fight. He begins calling Mangi foul names and then suddenly starts fondling him. Haben's comment section was already going crazy about him fighting the sumo, but they completely lose it when they see him harassing the big guy. Mangi is also furious now, because he doesn't like being groped by random guys. Haben's chatroom believes that he is high on adrenaline, which may dull pain, but it won't stop him from dying. However, he has some reason for this confidence. Earlier, he found a video of Cockman that told him about a few things he could use against a grappler, and even though it was not a complete guide, Haben has decided to try it out. Soon, Snap also reaches the location, and he begins filming the fight with a better setup. T is watching this stream while exercising in his gym as well, and he believes that Haben doesn't stand a chance to win in this fight. However, he sees the determination in his eyes. That reminds him of the last night when he suddenly arrived at his house. Haben asked the irritated T to teach him the back kick, because a clean hit can instantly knock out any opponent. However, T reminded him that he promised to kill him the next time he saw him. He unleashed his back kick on Haben, but he was wearing a bag filled with books in front of his belly to dull the impact. Despite that, Haben was down on his knees, and he realized that the kick right now was too powerful compared to the time he fought T. T then told him to call out Snap right now if they want to live, and while gasping for breath, Haben declared that Snap is not here. He said that he is not here for content, but to learn the back kick. T asked him the reason for that, and Haben decided to suck up to him to get accepted. He declared that Taekwondo is the greatest martial art, because nothing hurt more than those powerful kicks. T was sold just with these words, and he decided to teach Haben his ultimate move. Back at the market, Haben suddenly attacks Mangi with a calf kick as he feels adrenaline pumping in his blood. His viewers are also happy about that, but unfortunately, it did no damage to the muscular giant. Haben panics and begins kicking him again and again, but everything is useless. He now begins to regret his decisions and the joy that the adrenaline rush brought him. He wonders why Mangi is not even shocking any reaction. And then suddenly, the Korean sumo takes off his apron. Seeing his bulky build in tight-fitting clothes for the first time, Haben realizes that he was not kicking a person but a one-ton truck. Mangi asks him what was with the pathetic kick, and he suddenly remembers Cockman's words who told him to run away if he ever gets in a fight with a practitioner of traditional Korean wrestling. Following his words, Haben starts running but backwards. Half of his viewers are confused by this, but the other half think that he is surprisingly fast. On the other hand, Haben yet again regrets picking a fight with an opponent much larger than him. Meanwhile, Snap says that Haben has grown stronger because running backwards can help him keep an eye on the enemy while fleeing. He begins hyping him up in front of their audience, and says that Haben already has a plan. He believes that he plans to lure Mangi with his hit and run technique, and the slow fatty won't be able to catch him. Everyone agrees with Snap, but then Gil joins the chat and calls everyone a moron because they think Korean wrestlers are slow. She asks if they even know what the wrestlers do for basic training. They run on sand at full speed for their basic training, and right now, Mangi chases after Haben at full speed. However, his face is suddenly greeted by Haben's fist, who knew about the training and speed of Korean wrestlers. Cockman had told him that you can't run from Korean wrestlers, but you can use it against them because every creature is most vulnerable when running. However, that proved to be a lie in this case, because Mangi simply grabs both of Haben's hands and lifts him up like he is an empty plastic bag. He is shocked at this, and then decides to use his secret move to fight back. He slaps Mangi's hand and frees himself, and then decides to take him down by the baseball choke. However, as he tries reaching around his neck, he finds that he can't do that because Mangi's neck is like a tree trunk. He keeps trying to get his hands behind his neck, but it seems impossible. Now Haben panics because his calf kick, punch, and even the baseball choke have become useless. Mangi tells him that he will punish him for touching his head, and Haben wonders why is that. He wonders if that is a weakness of grapplers that even Cockman doesn't know about, and decides to test his theory. He punches Mangi's head, infuriating him even further. As a result, he suddenly grabs Haben and slams him into the concrete floor below with a frontal suplex. Haben coughs out blood, and his viewers are sure that they heard something snap. He realizes that this is vastly different from fighting other people, because Mangi is someone whom he just can't beat. He passes out, and he is not even disappointed at his loss because he acknowledges that this was the only result possible. Snap begins crying and says that he told Haben to not fight the giant monster, but then his viewers tell him to pay attention ahead. Mangi has a big black thing in his hands, which looks like a spine, and everyone is confused about it. Haben is also back on his feet, although he looks like he is on his 20th shot of vodka. The black thing was a spine protector that bikers often use, and that protected Haben from fatal damage earlier. Snap tells him to give up now because he has already done enough, and asks him to run. However, Haben stands there in front of the charging Mangi, saying that strikers are not weaker than grapplers. T agrees with him, and says that no striker is inherently weaker than a grappler, including Haben. He once again recalls how Haben came to him to learn Taekwondo's ultimate move. Seeing him, T remembered the time he went to his Taekwondo dojo and was furious to find the students doing their school homework there. He yelled at them that this is not the place to do their homework and told them to get out. But his dad, the dojo master, asked him to calm down. He said that since MMA is so popular, no one wants to learn Taekwondo anymore, so he can't make a living just with that. T began to cry at that, because his dad had promised that if he came first in the next tournament, he would give it his all to teach the students some good Taekwondo. He was furious that his dad was coming up with excuses now, and he swore that he would beat MMA fighters with his Taekwondo one day. So earlier, when he got the chance to train Haben, he took full pleasure in it. He called Haben cute, because even his elementary school Taekwondo uniform was too big for him. Haben was terrified of his intensity, and began practicing under him nonetheless. The first thing T made him do was run backwards, and he could not understand why he was being made to do that. Haben asked him why he was training to run backwards when he wanted to learn the back kick, and T told him that this is the exact training method for learning back kick. Back in the market, Haben yells that he is going to use a move that will lead to a knockout if it lands properly, and then begins running backwards again. Mangi keeps following him, but then Haben suddenly turns around on his heel and uses a powerful back kick, aimed directly at the giant's future generations. Well, T had asked him to target the enemy's solar plexus, but apparently hitting the groin upgrades the back kick to Nutcracker 3000 and makes it much more effective. Mangi is almost knocked out with that one kick. But Haben wonders if the solar plexus feels so odd to hit. He notices where his kick landed, and he and his entire male audience can share Mangi's pain for a moment. Haben apologizes to him, and Snap thinks that kicking an enemy in the groin during a street fight should be acceptable. Just then, Mangi suddenly lifts Haben up, and everyone fears that Haben will really die this time. Mangi gives him the front suplex, and Haben wonders what can he do to get out of this situation before he hits the ground and kisses the world goodbye. He realizes that he has to grab anything he can find, and he swings his hands around till he reaches Mangi's hair. He grabs them tightly, and what happens next stuns all 30,000 people watching the fight. Haben feels no resistance as his hand tugs on Mangi's hair, and his hand keeps coming down as he falls. Haben realizes that what is in his hands is actually Mangi's wig, and the giant wrestler with a hair loss condition is absolutely mortified. A few moments later, Haben and Mangi are sitting side by side. Forgetting their enmity, they crack open some soda, and Haben tries to confront the depressed Mangi, hoping that one day they will find a way for him to grow back hair. He talks about how he had heard that sportsmen get all the girls, so he became one. But he was still not popular compared to the good-looking guys. He keeps munching on hair growth supplements as Haben asks him why did he pick a fight with Kim earlier. Mangi says that it was because Kim kept following Bomi, so he thought he was a stalker and just wanted to help her out. Snap and Haben tell him that he should have approached more cautiously because Bomi was scared of him. He tells them that they are wrong, showing them a master's guide on dating that says girls like strong men. Snap and Haben immediately realize that Mangi was not a bad guy, but only misunderstood because of his threatening size. He suddenly starts crying and asks Haben if he will ever get a girlfriend. He says that the whole reason he started a YouTube channel was to meet a girl interested in him. Both Haben and Snap start crying over a bro's sad story, and then the three of them shed tears for many minutes. After that, Mangi leaves, saying that there is no hope for someone like him, and he may never find a girlfriend. He apologizes for all the trouble so far. But then Haben suddenly stops him and shows him the support he is getting from the public. A lot of people can relate with his struggles with his looks and medical issues, and they tell him to cheer up. Haben tells him to not give up now because his journey is just starting, and as he reads the positive comments, Mangi is moved to tears. With that, Haben declares the end of viral hit livestream. Kim can only smile as he sees this ending, and in her cafe, Bomi was also watching this while hiding behind the counter. She smiles to herself, but just then, some customers come there, so she gets busy with them. T is also impressed by the livestream and decides to resume his practice. Even Pak was watching the livestream. At night, Gil is also moved to tears as she edits the video, and she also hopes that things work out for Mangi. The edited video gets 3 million views and gathers some new subscribers as well. Snap is pleased by the progress they are making, and he laughs, saying that this is all thanks to his planning. He doesn't even mind not earning much from it, because he believes that by the time he reaches 20, he might even become a movie director. However, he suddenly gets a message that leaves him utterly baffled. Meanwhile, Haben is going to visit his mom. He is happy that he talks to Bomi daily, doesn't have to worry about expenses, and even the loan on their house has been almost completely paid. His mom asks him why is he so happy, and inquires if he has got a girlfriend. Haben says that he hasn't got one yet. And then his mom remarks that the debt collectors have not bothered her lately. He tells her that it is because he has got a new part-time job that is paying him really well. She wants to make sure that it is not a shady job, and Haben asks her to trust him. He can't tell his mom that he gets in fights and beaten up for money, but then she says that she will come work with him when she gets out of the hospital. Haben panics and says that she can't do it, because he doesn't trust her fighting ability. Haben's mom suddenly remembers that a nurse was looking for him earlier and tells him to talk to her. He is surprised and also a bit nervous, but he leaves to see her anyway. On the way, he wonders what will his mom think when she finds about his YouTube content. The nurse gives Haben good news that a kidney donor has been found for his mom, and the date of surgery has also been set. He is really happy on hearing that, and asks the nurse if his mom can start living at home now. The nurse pats his head to comfort him and then tells him that the surgery will be quite expensive. But Haben has that kind of money. He texts this good news to Bomi too, and she is also happy for him. He then meets up with his friends and hugs Snap as he tells him that his mom's surgery date has been decided and she can soon leave the hospital. Snap congratulates him and Gil is also very happy. Haben is of course the happiest of all because he is getting constant good news lately and he is no longer a lonely loser. If you liked this video, make sure to subscribe and check out this brand new anime about a loser who gets reincarnated as a prince with godly abilities.